Good afternoon, and another video. This one very much in response to some of the questions you raised when I did a video not that long ago, maybe 10 days ago, where I said, what would you like to see here on the channel? Give me some ideas and some suggestions. And one of those, which came from a couple of different people, was about my watches. Some of the eagle-eyed among you have noticed that I will often have a watch either on my wrist in a video that I'm making some B-roll for, some side footage, or I might actually have a watch on the table next to my notebook in a coffee shop, or maybe by my laptop when I'm working here in the studio at home. And so that's what we're going to share today. Let's have a little bit of a dive in, you and I, into some of the watches that I've got here in Mexico. This is my little watch tray that I have in the house, and I've got, I think, half a dozen watches in here today, which I'm going to run through and share with you. On my wrist today is this very beautiful little watch from January of 1970. So it's actually 54 years old as we record it. It's a Seiko 5, which is a classic model from that Japanese company. And this one, and you can tell when you get a Japanese watch, or particularly when you get a Seiko watch, you can look at the printing detail on the back of the case, and it gives you information about the year of manufacture and the month of manufacture, as well as some details of the model number, which gives you a further indication of which factory it may have come from the various factories in the Seiko group. But this is a beautiful pen. I'm just going to take it out of the direct. Let me switch the direct light off that I've got here. Let's have a look at this. That's much better. Look at that. This is a 54-year-old watch from Seiko. You can see below the Seiko name at the top of the dial, it says 5 Actus. And Actus was actually introduced to the market from the beginning of 1970 to 1979. So this one, with a January of 1970 production date on it, is one of the very first out of a Seiko factory in the Far East. So it's a beautiful watch, and it cost me probably £50. I've had it several years. It came, I mean, it's a refurbished watch. The watch itself is the same, but the strap is obviously not original. So it came on this extra little fake crocodile strap, and it's a beautiful watch. And I can wear it with a lot of the clothes that I like. I often wear pink or blue shirts, and this is beautiful against that pink. Nice leather strap and a beautiful champagne dial. Very much faded now, but it's faded in a beautiful way. It's a small watch. I think it's probably 34 millimeters across the circumference of the watch, and that excludes the tiny little crown at 4 o'clock. You can see it just below the date wheel there. So that's a Seiko 5 Actus, one of my least expensive watches. But here is, in fact, I was going to show you a watch which is a complete homage. You and I might use the word rip-off or blatant copy, but I have a watch here, and I'm not even going to show what it is because that would be wrong. But it's on a nylon strap, which is very nice, and it references one of the famous Swiss models. This is a beauty. Again, it works really well with pretty much any long sleeve shirt, and also with some of my t-shirts, by Casio. It's just a very nice modern quartz watch. It's got a vertical pattern of lines on the face. I think you can see that, but also I'm reflecting one of the doors up here in the office. So I'll take some B-roll from overhead with the camera. But a beautiful watch, a really nice, generous gift from some tenants. It doesn't have the highest value, but that's not the point. It's a very lovely, elegant dress watch, and I really enjoy it. This is closing on, I would say, 39 millimeters. I've had it 2 years now. It hasn't had a change of battery, and it served me really well. I don't wear this when I swim, but I'd wear it out and about in town, and I often will wear it at a coffee shop when I'm working outside of the house. Here's another one that I'd actually forgotten. It's a little pocket watch. I don't have it on a chain, but it slips very nicely in the key pocket of a pair of jeans when I leave the house, or in the top pocket of a jacket when my wife and I will go out in the evening. And it's quite beautiful. It has this ornate design on the back, and on the front, space for perhaps the carving of some initials. In my role as a residential landlord, I will often be given a gift by a tenant when they leave the property, and this one is a lovely little gift. It's a gorgeous little pocket watch. It's on a quartz battery. This I've had for 2 years, and only last week did I take it to the jeweller's to have another battery popped into the case. When I'm out and about, I will typically go for 1 hour or 2 hours to sit and write. I'll have a coffee. That'll keep me going for an hour. And with the second coffee, I should be able to finish the amount of work that I want to accomplish in that particular afternoon. But having something like this little pocket watch is really great. I can put that on the table by the work in progress, and the constant movement of the second hand, and also I'll have to try and record that sound, but the constant ticking of the second hand as you sit with that watch in front of you, it motivates you to keep going, to keep writing, and to be as productive as reasonably possible with your pen and paper. Watches have memories associated with them. Certainly for me, if I look in one of my watch boxes here or a different one at home in England, I have a mental visual image of stories that I associate with that watch, and no more so, for example, than this one. This is, I'm just going to take this one out of the tray. So this is a very simple, basic automatic watch. It has a white face. It's by TW Steel, and it's what they call their canteen design, predominantly because of the little, well, not the little, the large crown here, which you unscrew, and that comes off, and then here on the actual proper crown itself is a winding mechanism for continuing to keep the watch full of power and to move the battery. But this one is an open case back, so here you can see the rotor. If I move the watch the weight of the rotor keeps the rotor in the same place. If I shake this watch, or basically if I put it on my wrist and we're driving, or if I've got it on my right wrist, which I sometimes do, and I'm writing, that action maintains the power that is fed through to the mechanism that controls the hands on the face. But it's a very beautiful, very simple design, but watch, see the rotor there, it will always fall to weight, because gravity is what keeps this watch running, and I'm really fond of it. It has a story for me, because when my mother died, my sons and I were in the Anthropology Museum in Mexico City, and my brother called me with the news, and I have a very clear visual memory of exactly where I stood when I took the call, and what my brother said to me, and how I then went to look for my sons elsewhere in the museum and broke that news to them about their grandma. And the following week I was out on a street called Mazarik in an area of Mexico City called Polanco, which is very unusual in the sense that it's a place of extreme luxury and very high quality shops and expensive brands. And I had been into a couple of watch shops that day. I'd been into a Rolex dealership, and I'd also been into a Mont Blanc dealership, where not only do they have gorgeous pens, but they also have a very lovely range of quite exquisite watches, one of which I really like, called the Glacier, which obviously takes from their Swiss heritage and the logo that we all know, which is the snow-capped mountain peak, which you'll see on the end of the cap and sometimes on the base of the barrels of their Mont Blanc pens. And I'd gone in to look at both of those brands, and I was thinking of something as not so much a treat, but something special. And I came out of those two shops, and then a bit further along Masaryk, I came upon a pop-up shop with a Mexican jeweller's that had a beautiful range of fairly large, sort of 45 to 49 millimeter faces on the watches, so very large watches, not as large as some that I've got. But they often had the Mexican skull with diamonds and different things. And that didn't strike me. I didn't have a big pull towards it. But they also had a small selection of watches by TW Steel. And this is the one that caught my eye. And I thought to myself, yes, Mum, you would have liked this one. She would have thought the others were garish or too dramatic. But this is nice. And so I always think of my mum when I put this watch on. And I'm just very emotional about it now, just thinking about it. But my mum would have liked this watch. And I wear this watch often, certainly once a week, in honour of my mum. And it gives me that strong sense that we are still somehow connected, and that she is happy with our life in Mexico and what we do between here and England. And I think it's a lovely watch. And it's a bit like my mum might have thought of herself, and I've got to be careful what adjectives I use to describe that situation, to describe my mum. But this is a watch that does what it says. It's got no airs and graces. It's pretty, and it's a watch that I love. So thank you, Mum. I in a way, I sort of think that with a little bit of my inheritance money, I can allocate some of that proportionally to the fact that I bought this watch the week that I was notified of Mum's passing. But it's by TW Steel, Canteen. It's not a fashionable watch, and my mum would have liked that. It's a strong watch that performs well, that records the time, but looks pretty, and I can wear it with pretty much anything. In terms of selecting a watch, and forget any aspect of this as being advice, because it's absolutely not a watch channel. This is about the writing life and my love and passion for books and pens and stationery, and inevitably for watches, one of the simplest pieces of jewellery that a man can buy and enjoy and wear on a regular basis. But that works well with any of my shirts. I mean, just looking at that against the pink, I think it's gorgeous, and I can wear it confidently with a t-shirt or with a long sleeve shirt like I'm wearing now. But it's a lovely watch, and it reminds me of my mum. This next watch is a real gem in my collection. We have a few of these Longines brand watches at home, but this is one I bought this year, and it's very special. The packaging is, as you might expect on a watch that's more expensive, quite beautifully done. I'll just take this out of the box that it comes with. So here we have a nice, pretty faux wood, I'm sure, but none the same, very beautiful presentation case. And inside here is my Longines Spirit Zulu time. It's an absolute stunner of a watch. It's quite small, it's 42 millimeters and very beautiful. But I went to look at this in the showroom where we have bought previous Longines watches, and it was an absolute yes. I had to have this one. This is the Longines Zulu time. It's a GMT, which means it tracks different time zones. I find it useful to reset it each time I travel between the UK and Mexico, because we have a 7-hour time difference between families in each country, so it's perfect. But it also has this really lovely crown. So it's quite a large crown. I just unwind this, and it clicks out, and then I wind it forward. I probably do 30 or 40 of these every 3 days, because it has a 72-hour life to the watch itself. But it is beautiful, and I really, really love it. It's in a gorgeous blue. You can get these with a kind of grey anthracite face, but this one is blue, and it's got a very smooth, very simple bezel action. And you can either track the time by adjusting the bezel so that it's 7 hours behind the time zone that you, however many hours you want it to be behind the time zone that's relevant to you. So I would typically have it 7 hours forward or backwards according to where I am. But it's an absolutely stunning watch. One of the other things I love about this watch is the quick release on the bracelet. Look at that. So here it has this little push button underneath each of the links to the watch. So I can take the watch itself off, and this is really useful when I'm putting it on a leather strap or a nylon strap. But yeah, there's the watch. It has an individual watch number on the base. Zulu time by Longines. Zulu time, of course, is basically GMT. So that's the watch itself, and it has this beautiful bracelet with a quick release clasp and the Longines logo on the edge of the bracelet. But as I've said before, I can just very quickly and simply slide this in, and changing the bracelet from a metal to a leather or another strap is as simple as that. But it's the Longines Spirit Zulu time, and it's absolutely stunning. It's probably one of my favorite watches, and it deserves a place on my wrist, I think, because it's so beautiful. But I'm going to put it back in the case for now. I'll wear this watch just as much as any of the others in rotation. With my watch collection, I probably have 3 or 4 that I wear every single week, and then the others I will rotate and just enjoy having them close to hand, either in my watch box or with a collection of literally watch boxes like these. And that's a beautiful watch. Let's look now at a completely different watch. That Zulu time is beautiful, it's elegant, it has a lot of finesse to it, and the work on the face of the watch, the bezel action, the crown is superb, but also the fact that it's a fully automatic watch, has a 72-hour power reserve, and I can wear it with pretty much anything. Let's look at a completely different vehicle. This is the Nixon 5130, and it's an absolute beast of a watch. It's very strong, it's incredibly heavy. My brother gifted this to me in 2009. One Sunday afternoon, I hadn't expected to visit. He came up to my cottage in the Yorkshire Dales and wished me a happy birthday, and this is the gift that he gave me. It's very robust. On the back, I have actually referenced it in one of my videos here about simplifying your life. Each Nixon watch has a different word on the back of them, each marker or each brand. This one, you can just see here, says simplify. And in the event of a big change, obviously there's lots of civil unrest in the UK at the moment, and things are getting fairly dicey, I think, in various parts of Northern and Western Europe. There's also the threat of some monkey business being promoted and touted by the mainstream media. And if I were to have to go and hide in the woods, literally, this, plus a penknife and a compass and a rucksack with a little hammock and a tent in it maybe, these would be my go-to items, my new everyday carries. This watch has been with me since 2009. It's superbly robust. It's normally a brilliant conversation starter, even when I don't want to start a conversation, because the size of this thing is incredible. It's 5130 is the marker name or the model name by Nixon. But basically that means it's just over 5 centimeters across. Let's look at it by comparison with this beautiful Seiko 5 Actus. If I overlay the two, look at the difference in size. One's 34 millimeters, one is 51 millimeters. This one weighs very little. This one is solid. Let's try it against the wooden table. If you take a look at this watch, you'll also notice it's unusual because the crown and the chronograph buttons are on the left side of the dial. It's been very popular amongst the Nixon fan club as a surf watch. You can get them. I've got another one which has the tide and time references on here. So that's very useful for tracking high tide. Not that I'm a surfer, but I love swimming in the sea. But this is a superb watch. I've effectively had it for 15 years. It's a quartz watch. There's nothing automatic or mechanical about this watch. It has a brilliant strong strap. But if I had to say goodbye to all but one of the watches, including my Longines Zulu Spirit Time in this box here, I think it's the Nixon that I would keep with me. I could use it forever. It runs on quartz batteries, and I've got a few of those that I can keep spare. But 5 years on a battery for a watch that has so many functions, this is my keeper. Watch collectors will often refer to something as a beta watch. That means a watch that you can wear with pretty much anything. It's a go anywhere watch. You can wear it in any situation, and it's a favorite. But you can beat it, you can hammer it. It's a heavy, strong creature, and it's gorgeous to have that on my wrist as something that I know was a gift from my brother, and I can wear it whenever I want to. The Nixon 5130. Well, there we have it. A little bit of a watch journey, a little bit of a trip for me down memory lane and looking at the different memories and thoughts and people associated with some of the different watches in this particular collection. But ending with this beta watch, my Nixon 5130, one that I am always very happy to wear. It gives me a lot of pleasure to see it. Lots of people like to talk about it because it's such a large watch. It works for me, being such a tall man, but it's not for everybody. You have to, when you're looking at your watches, just as when we're doing the same with our pens, you choose what's right for you. You choose what best suits your mood or how you feel on a particular day. And that's what takes you out and about to the coffee shop with the pens that you like. But also, for me, with the watches that I love. I hope you've enjoyed this little chat. It's a little bit of chewing gum for the brain, something different, a little bit light-hearted. But for me, it's been really nice and special to talk about these things which have such meaning for me. If you've got some great watches, tell me what you like. Tell me what your favorite go-to watch is, or your beta watch, or your celebration. Maybe somebody gave you a watch as a gift, and for that reason, it's something that's very special to you. I hope you enjoyed the video.